Be ready. 10 seconds to go. Start. I do not think that any government has been able to devise a leak proof system of taxation. I also acknowledge that the profit motive is a great stimulant to exertion and rules human conduct in whatever walk of left it may be, whether it is the capitalist, the middle classes, the labor, or the agriculturists with whom we may have to deal. At the same time, transcending everything must be a high sense of civic consciousness and national duty. What would riches avail those who have hoarded wealth if the economic problems of the country remain unsolved and lead to chaos? Nor would it help government at all to devise measures which do not bring out all these hoards for utilization in economic undertakings. After all, we have to realize that the longer these hoards are kept where they are, the less chance there is of their yielding any return to the owner, and the more distant the prospect for the government to utilize them in stimulating trade and industry. The problem, therefore, is not merely ethical but also economical. Economics is an intensely practical science, and I would urge upon you to look at the practical side of the problem more closely and to evolve remedies whereby we can harness these hidden resources for the purpose of national service. I have always maintained that it is the duty of every citizen who has talent, who has experience, and who has ability to give the benefit of these virtues to the nation. I can assure you that if you can put forward constructive suggestions in this regard, government would be only too glad to give their close and earnest consideration to them. However, as I have already stated, I would not regard temporary palliatives as adequate. They may only succeed in postponing what would, if we do not take action in time, be inevitable. In my judgment, the key to our economic situation lies in increased production. The problem of increasing production has to be looked at in two ways. It means a greater utilization of our industrial capacity at present. It also means that we must not be content with merely utilizing what we have, but must explore fresh woods and pastures new. for the expansion of our industrial effort, we must obviously have more capital and investments in the economy. Increased production would enable us not only to meet the demands of the consumers but also to substantially cut down our imports, thereby saving valuable foreign exchange for other more pressing needs, chief of which would be the import of capital goods which we would require for old or new industrial undertakings. A few industries in which I feel increased production is impossible and must be achieved are steel, cotton, textiles, sugar, electrical goods, chemicals, machine tools, paper, and cement. The question is largely one of securing sufficient capital and capital goods and the necessary foreign exchange. In laying out our program, however, our aim must be to survey our resources and to plan them out on the basis of what we can achieve in the near future and to ensure that what we produce goes a long way in reducing our dependence on currencies which we can save in order to further intensify our industrial effort. The ultimate object of all these efforts must be to attain that industrial efficiency and self sufficiency by geometrical progression, which would increase general prosperity and thereby secure a higher standard of living for the common man. On the basis of this ultimate objective, you can devise a plan for what is immediately or in the near future practicable. Government, industrialists, and labor could then participate in a great national effort for recovery and reconstruction. I should now like to say a word to labor. No one realizes more keenly than myself what an important and decisive part labor can play in our great industrial effort. I know the difficulties that confront both labor and labor leaders. At the same time, I also realize the gravity of the crisis which faces us today. After all, in our lives, occasions come when we have to put up with difficulties in a spirit of forbearance and fortitude, hoping that as a result of our sacrifices, we shall see better days. The foundations of prosperity are often laid on self denial. Today, when the nation demands sacrifices all round, let labor also make sacrifices and help other to do so. Let it be to labor's credit that it has taken the lead and shown the way. If others do not follow, the nation will know how to deal with them. Let them trust the judgment of the nation and those to whom has fallen the duty of leading the nation through the present crisis. I can claim longer association with organized labor than probably many labor leaders today. I served my apprenticeship under that great leader of men and that great friend of labor, Mahatma Gandhi. Stop.